In 2015, hackers infiltrated AshleyMadison.com, exposing more than 30 million affairs to the world.
I just looked at her and started crying, and I said, my marriage is over.
All right. That was a clip from a new podcast called Exposed: The Ashley Madison Hack, chronicling the data breach that you may remember happened in 2015. Joining us this morning to discuss how the brand turned itself around, rebuilt, and continues to grow a decade later is Paul Keable, Chief Strategy Officer for Ashley Madison. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, well, you know, there's lots to talk about with you today, and we're going to jump right into it. Just for context for people at home, Canadian actress Sophie Nélisse from the hit television series Yellow Jackets, she's actually been on our show before, hosting a podcast called Exposed: The Ashley Madison Hack. That podcast does delve into the company's history, the implications of infidelity, and society's perspective on affairs. And then new to Netflix now is Ashley Madison's Sex, Lies, and Scandal docuseries. So everybody's talking about it, and including us. We're going to talk about it here today with, Chief Strategy, Mr. Paul, right here on the couch. How does the company feel about these conversations that are happening on Netflix with the podcast?
You know, it's really a reflection of about how far we've come since those events in 2015. Every talking head, every pundit said this was the end, the demise of Ashley Madison. And I was there at the time, and I remember saying to some of my colleagues, we can rebuild, we can come back better. We just have to earn the trust of our membership. And it's fascinating to see, you know, the story 10 years on almost through eyes of other people. Because certainly I have my own recollections, but I'm more proud of the work that we've done to rebuild that trust with our members.
What would you say to people who say that Ashley Madison is just a site that encourages people to cheat on their partners?
I think that's a misnomer or a misunderstanding of the nature of our business, because we could go out and shut down tomorrow and infidelity would not stop. What we're trying to do is help people discover what monogamy means for them. And for those where the traditions of monogamy don't fit, we're going to give them a place to have what we like to say is a successful affair, an undiscovered affair. And in essence, we're helping...
Is there a successful affair?
Absolutely. We are preserving more marriages
How?
Simply because our number one competition is the office space. More often than not, you're going to see people having affairs there. And the risk is you are putting your job on the line, your career, as well as potentially your marriage, because it's a lot harder to hide it in the office place. And we set up Ashley Madison originally to help match the right people with the right opportunity. So two married people who don't know each other outside of each other's work and social circles can meet and fulfill their unmet needs. And it's really important to understand, more importantly, why people are coming to the site versus what you think is happening.
Why are they coming to the site?
And that's interesting because we actually worked with the University of Missouri, a woman named Dr. Alicia Walker, and she studied independently, why do women come to Ashley Madison and why do men? 80% of the women on the site in her research were in sexless or orgasmless marriages. And so they were looking to fulfill and outsource an intimate need that their spouse or partner was either unwilling or unable to. And the majority of men were coming for emotional validation. They weren't getting that feeling of being wanted and desired. And what society tells us is you can either compromise and not have these things and quite frankly be a little bit unhappy within your relationship, or you can divorce, which is financially costly, emotionally costly, and if you have children, it's not exactly the easiest path. So we're offering a different route. And what I said about successful affairs is the idea of being undiscovered. And so in doing it in a bit of discretion, you can have what you want.
You're jumping over the ethical. You're jumping over the ethical, and I have to ask you this. Your business model is unethical. How do you reconcile the fact that you are ruining lives with your business model? How do you put that all together and have a good sleep at night?
Well, I honestly, I've been with the company for more than 10 years, and I talk to my members on a very regular basis. And I would argue we preserve more marriages than we end. Absolutely, fundamentally.
Marriages where lying is happening.
Listen, you can lie to yourself or you can lie to your spouse about your happiness and whether or not your needs are being met. And again, we could go out of business tomorrow. These feelings, these desires, and these actions are not going to stop.
But you're certainly giving access to people to conduct themselves in a way that, you know, the idea of a marriage does not contain that kind of sanctity. And I think the implication there that women are being empowered sexually by this is a bit of a dangerous one. But really, the company seems to move towards danger. I mean, the controversy and the divisiveness that exists, a lot of companies seem to back away. The popularity, I mean, let's be real, has increased. So how does that make sense? And how do you reconcile that with the job that you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I think my job isn't to go out and convince a happily married couple to have an affair. If I could do that, one, my boss, please, I need a raise, we would be a multi-billion-dollar company. In fact, what we're trying to do is tell people about the truths, what's happening in the world of infidelity, what's happening behind the scenes of Ashley Madison, and not trying to convince people to take this route. And increasingly, it's not just infidelity, even though that's our obviously bread and butter. Life is short, have an affair. About 20% of our membership right now is represented with people who would call themselves non-monogamous and disclose to their partner. So that might be a polyamorous relationship, an open relationship. There's a great spectrum of these types of activities, but they still desire the discretion that our platform offers. And from an ethical standpoint, we're very honest and upfront about our business. Again, I said what our tagline is. There's no ambiguity about the nature of our business. Whereas if you go to some other dating sites, we've seen reports that even today, Tinder has up to 30% of their membership are married people pretending to be single. So we're actually doing a service to the other dating sites to pull these people away from them to come to our site where our daters are more honest about their intentions.
When you talk about the discretion, though, and the protection, I mean, so much has been said about the data breach. Are you offering any stronger, actual, honest protection at this point?
Well, I would push back on whether it was honest before or not, but that's not really here nor there. Absolutely. You couldn't be in business today, after what we went through, if we had not invested millions, tens of millions of dollars in our security, our privacy, and our discretion. And I often tell my team and my colleagues, it's a Sisyphean task. Every single day we wake up, we have to push that boulder up the hill. It's not a check mark where we say, oh, security's done, we can walk away, don't have to worry about that today. So every new feature, every new product, every campaign, everything we do has privacy, discretion, and security imbued in it. And that is what drives the company forward. And it's enabled us to rebuild that trust with our members. At 2015, we had about 36 million members. We've had more than 50 million new members join since then. So clearly, we're delivering on an expectation for our membership.
Well, Paul
All right.
Keable.
Paul Keable, everyone, Chief Strategy Officer for Ashley Madison. Thanks for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for your time. There's clearly lots to talk about here, and we'll continue it in our You Sound Off. So
Oh, yeah.
what do you think constitutes cheating? We were talking about that, obviously.